At the beginning of the 21st century, How to Survive had become the largest commercial entity in the United Kingdom. 9 out of every 10 homes contain its podcasts. Its political and financial influence is felt everywhere. In public, it is the world's leading supplier of film criticism, nitpicking, and movie survival tips. Unknown even to its employees, its massive profits are generated by military technology, genetic experimentation, and viral weaponry. How to Survive.
Hello and welcome to episode 139 of the How to Survive podcast. And joining me deep underground in our secret genetic laboratory, it's Joe.
Hi, how are you?
I'm very well. This week's film is, of course, the 2002 Paul W.S. Anderson classic, Resident Evil.
Yeah, despite getting a Rotten Tomatoes rating of like 51%, it has had about 19 sequels.
Yeah. They've done very well. And it's going to be an interesting point of discussion because last week, of course, we talked about the recent Tomb Raider release.
Yep.
And this week we're talking about Resident Evil, which itself is going to be rebooted soon.
Really?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Well, not the series.
Yes.
But they had a movie out last year.
Yes.
And they're rebooting. How can you reboot something which is still in sequel zone?
Yes. The only answer is yes.
No, the answer is no.
If you haven't listened to How to Survive before, we like to talk about how we would survive in films. Crazy, I know. How could you have guessed? If you haven't seen Resident Evil, now is your chance to skip out on this podcast and go watch it. It's available on Netflix if you want to watch it, because we will be tearing into the film and ripping out its gory innards.
Yes. So that it can come back as a ghoul.
Yes.
As its former self.
Yes. So that's your last warning before we go ahead to recap the plot after this.
But the fucking trailer is awful. I bet it's like they
miles underground. Yeah.
Yeah. Electric guitars and like a speed bass track.
I can get you in. I can get the virus. You're all going to die down here. Yeah.
That's
just put that in.
Yeah.
Don't even put the trailer in.
Deep underground, in a top secret research lab, security has been breached. A deadly virus capable of contaminating the entire world has been released.
Oh my god.
We have to get out of this building.
What was that? It's the brakes! It's okay, we're here to help.
Now, an elite team has been sent in to stop it.
5 hours ago, Red Queen went homicidal.
Who's the Red Queen?
State-of-the-art artificial intelligence.
The corporation's keeping a few secrets down here.
But they have only 3 hours left before it begins infecting and mutating the whole human race.
Everyone stay calm.
You have to get out.
Don't listen to anything she says. She's a holographic representation of the Red Queen.
She may be our only way out of here.
In a research laboratory underneath Raccoon City, the Umbrella Corporation work on clandestine genetic research to develop new biological weaponry. Predictably, this goes awry when a thief steals a sample of the experimental T virus while simultaneously releasing another sample into the lab. In response, a computer-controlled security system called the Red Queen seals the lab shut and kills everyone inside with nerve gas. Shortly thereafter, Alice wakes up alone in a grand mansion with amnesia. The silence is soon interrupted by the arrival of an Umbrella sanitation team, including Michelle Rodriguez, playing the role of Michelle Rodriguez with military training.
Yep.
Also known as Rain. The team and Alice come across Matt, a police officer looking for his sister in the Umbrella labs. The team reveal the mansion is a secret entrance to the hive, and upon opening it, find Spence. The team then reveal that Alice and Spence are Umbrella security guards watching over this hive entrance under the guise of man and wife.
Man and wife.
Taking a train down to the hive, the team make their way through the apparently deserted facility until they reach the Red Queen's chamber. 4 members of the sanitation team are killed by the Red Queen, and they ignore her warnings not to turn off her systems. When they do so, every door in the hive opens and a horde of zombies are unleashed. Which, of course, are the workers who were there at the start of the film.
Yeah, and the type of zombie appears to be like Dawn of the Dead original, which is just
like shambling,
not
slow.
even that. Well, there's some inconsistencies. I think they're more like just normal people wearing prosthetic faces.
Oh, I see. Yeah, but they're slow. They're not 28 Days Later zombies.
Yeah, they're not running around and smart.
No. During an ensuing shootout, a chamber containing an experimental bioweapon monster is inadvertently opened, and the creature escapes. Escapes from its PlayStation 2 graphics housing.
Generous. I think more like N64.
Matt finds Lisa, his sister, zombified and executes her with the help of Alice. Matt confesses that he and Lisa were looking for evidence in order to expose Umbrella's nefarious schemes. This triggers a memory in Alice. She was Lisa's contact in Umbrella and was helping her smuggle the virus out. She keeps this to herself for the time being. The survivors reunite at the Red Queen's chamber and force her cooperation by threatening to shut her down permanently unless she helps them escape. A task which is made harder by a 60-minute countdown until the hive is permanently sealed. They escape through maintenance tunnels, and more of the generic sanitation workers are bitten or killed, and one called Kaplan is trapped and left behind. Rain is bitten, but perseveres. Alice remembers that there exists an antivirus in the lab, and the team goes to retrieve it. There, Spence remembers that he is the film's villain. This is literally what happens. He basically remembers that he's the bad guy. And he decides to be evil again now, revealing that the virus and antivirus was in the train they came in on all along. Spence is bitten by a zombie and traps the remaining group in a lab. Spence makes it back to the train but is killed by the grotesque monster from before. Not Michelle Rodriguez. The Licker is what it's called, because it's got a big tongue, Joe. The Licker then threatens to kill the group in their lab, but they escape with the help of Kaplan, who's made a return, and make it onto the train with the virus/antivirus package in tow. Kaplan is then killed.
Oh, but you forgot the part where Spence comes back to life.
Oh, and Alice shoots him.
And
says from death to do us part, or whatever.
No, she says something like have a good death or something.
Right, great. While on the train, they inject the quickly fading Rain with the antivirus. Suddenly, the Licker attacks, killing Kaplan and wounding Matt's arm. Alice subdues the Licker, but Matt is attacked by a now zombified Rain. They were too late with the antivirus, you see, Joe. He shoots her, and her head hits a button that opens a trapdoor underneath the Licker, who is destroyed. Back at the mansion, Matt's wounds begin mutating, and before Alice can administer the antivirus, they are both subdued by Umbrella workers wearing biohazard suits. Alice wakes up sometime later in Raccoon City Hospital. Heading outside, she sees the city abandoned and ruined in the wake of a zombie apocalypse. Alice arms herself with a shotgun, ready for action, and some heavy metal begins playing.
That's not the worst.
That's basically heavy metal is playing all the way through the film.
With some like kind of new metal drum and bass sort of thrown in for good measure.
I think Marilyn Manson was one of the people who did the soundtrack, which explains it.
Doesn't surprise me. I think it's another classic case of liquor ruining a perfectly good night.
Nice.
Liquor,
Oh yeah,
liquor,
yeah. No, I got there eventually. It's good. It certainly leaves you with a hangover.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you have too much liquor, you could die. What did you think about Resident Evil?
I thought it was shit and dreary and distressing throughout.
Distressing?
Well, it's just it's
upsetting for you?
Upsetting because it's from a filmmaking perspective. Yeah,
right.
It's a well-made atrocity, isn't it?
Okay.
It's like it looks good, but everything that happens in its good looks is like what?
Right.
Why did you do that?
Okay.
What's going on?
Yeah.
You go like the liquor comes in, and you're like, what's that?
Yeah.
Like, and then Mila Jovovich's character, Alice, suddenly
starts like flipping off the walls and kicking dogs to death,
but only for like once ever, and you're like, what's that about?
Yeah.
And then like Michelle Rodriguez is putting in like a Tom Cruise level method acting performance.
It is. I tell you what you get with Michelle Rodriguez is absolute commitment.
Yeah, like she thinks she's in like the most gritty war drama ever.
That's a credit to her. I think
it is,
because it's like it wouldn't be as good if she was like not asked.
It's almost like she didn't get the memo that this is a crazy rubbish film.
But then like if you compare her performance to the performance of Eric Mabius, who plays Matt, like there are whole scenes where Matt looks like he is waiting between takes. Like he's just looking like completely blank, just with no emotional affect. There's a scene in which in the climactic train fight, where he's supposed to be looking like at the liquor, I think. And it's like he could be looking at like wallpaper.
Like there's a line he delivers which is like, "What do you mean?" But he's like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "What do you mean?" It's like from The Room.
It's bizarre.
Yeah.
It's like a very strange like lack of affect from him.
It's strange.
There's basically like his emotional range is basically like plus or minus one each way.
Exactly. I think like Michelle Rodriguez seems to have taken it like she was one of the Space Marines in Aliens.
Yeah, but then that's exactly what the film. That's what
it
the film
needed.
Yeah, that's what it's aping, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
and I think the scene in which the sanitation team are moving through the facility and like it's quiet and suspenseful. Those are the best scenes in the film, in my opinion.
Do you think is it that suspenseful? Is there any tension?
There's an attempt at tension, which is more than you can say for the rest of the film, I think.
Right.
And I get like, you know, I presume you've seen this film before, probably a few times.
Years ago.
You a long time ago, but you knew exactly what was happening.
Yeah.
So that the tension is drawn out of the film because of that. But I sort of enjoyed, because it's rubbish. The film's rubbish, but it's like enjoyable rubbish for the most part. I think
it's what 13 and Ghost wanted to be.
Yeah, exactly. It's a serviceable like military versus supernatural,
sci-fi horror from the early noughties.
Yeah, and it's like absurd, but like its absurdity is sort of enjoyable in a blockbustery way.
I think one of the downsides is the plot is just so convoluted. Like it's a movie of set pieces because you've got a convoluted and boring plot that doesn't surprise you. The twist is like, what's his name? Spence is behind it all. You're like, why? I don't care.
I don't even. Yeah, like I have no opinion of any of the characters.
If they never showed Spence again, like minutes before, I wouldn't even noticed he wasn't in the film anymore.
Yeah, like I think when I say that I enjoyed it, like it becomes a lot less enjoyable once Alice becomes a superhero.
Yeah.
With like no explanation. I think in later films it's retconned as she's like the result of a genetic experiment, right?
Oh, great.
But like there's basically no reason to care about any of the characters, and it is just like watching a sort of generic action romp.
Yeah.
Do you think it works as a video game adaptation?
Yes and no, right? Yes, because you have a weird boss with an evolved dramatic weakness.
Yeah.
A lot of like
his exposed brain.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
In like House of the Dead.
That's
or
not
Resident
evolved,
Evil.
is it?
No, but it is evolved. Because
No, but it's in like that's not natural selection, is it? Like there's no way that would have happened.
That's what I mean. Like that's why you know it's a video game,
right?
Because there's a place you can shoot it to kill it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
There's a staged defeat of the boss where they have to like pin its tongue down and open a door. Do you know what I mean? Like if it was a video game, he would break free if you didn't get to the door in time.
Yeah, you'd have to do it 3 times.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Then
And then he'd upgrade it to a second boss.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It works through different levels.
Yeah.
You have to overcome different things with increasing difficulty. Mm-hmm. The physics and the plot are secondary to the spectacle.
Yeah, yeah.
And the big thing for the video game for me was that the 5 or so minutes that are shot inside the mansion are all shot from oblique angles,
right.
which completely
apes the
original Resident Evil game from the early 90s.
Yeah.
In the ways it's not like a game, there's about 5,000 characters who are all just like fucking
There's
boring.
a lot of characters in the game as well, to be fair.
There is, but you only ever play as one.
No, I know, but there are multiple people.
But you don't need to keep track of them. Is it like,
I suppose so.
Like,
but then again, like
Chris is never like, if you're playing as Jill, you haven't got to be like, oh, I need to remember Chris's backstory.
But that's the thing is though that the games eventually become incredibly convoluted, themselves.
Yes. The other things that make it not like a game are the frenetic and self-aware cutting and the flashbacks and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Worrying about the weird corporations and stuff, which does become a plot point of the game.
I think that's always a plot point of the game, right? Because they the whole corporate irresponsibility
is
built
conceit of the game.
Yeah, right? Basically, yeah. And I think in some ways that's what what translates from the video game best is that sense that Umbrella are an evil, faceless, mega corporation.
Not very cleverly named, are they?
Yeah, I guess so.
We're an umbrella corporation.
What we need is a name for the sort of umbrella corporation that controls all of these things.
Go back again. What did you say?
I said, need a name for...
Yes, need a name for industries, yes.
Yeah. I sort of think that the mansion stuff and the early scenes in the lab work as a sort of like relatively decent translation of the game's atmosphere. Like originally the film was going to be made by George A. Romero. It's going to be written and directed by George A. Romero.
Which would
at that point, at that point he hadn't made a film for 20 years. He was eventually replaced by Paul W.S. Anderson, who basically
hot off the success of Event Horizon.
Yeah, and Mortal Kombat.
Great.
And Mortal Kombat Annihilation, I think. He basically went to the people who owned the rights and said, look, I'm going to do a Resident Evil script as a spec script, and you can either commission it as Resident Evil the movie, or I'll take it somewhere else, I'll call it something else, right, and it won't be related to Resident Evil. In basically, I'll take out anything that relates it directly.
Yeah,
and you can sort of see that in the fact that the film is basically like not particularly
Resident Evil.
But then that's probably a good thing, really, because the games are nonsense.
Yeah,
right. The first one has, off the top of my head, giant snakes, giant plants who eat people, giant spiders, giant lizards. Right. It's incredibly video gamey.
Dogs, zombies.
Yeah, it's very, very video gamey, and there's basically no guarantee that it would ever translate well to the screen. So, I mean, it's as good as it probably could have been, really, unless they really did pare it down, and the first hour of the film was just people in like an empty house, and then the second hour was like
zombie attack
there's a lab underneath it, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, like it wouldn't have worked as a direct translation in the game, I don't think. And I guess in that sense it also fails because it fails as a video game adaptation because it's not really that. It should be called something else.
Yeah.
And
Resident Evil, or a movie inspired by the game.
Or like just call it anything else. But like what's strange is that the later Resident Evil games seem to take influence from the popularity of the movies.
Yeah,
because they become hysterical
more
and
science fantasy.
And like more action and over the top spectacle. But then, like, again, people wouldn't go and see it if it wasn't called Resident Evil.
No, exactly.
So,
Yeah. Same with Tomb Raider last week. If it was just called like
Lady
goes in the
Cave.
yeah.
Yeah.
Lady Cave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's another video that I've seen. No one will go see it. Have you played the Resident Evil games?
I have.
Yeah. I my first experience of them was the remake or the remaster on the GameCube
Of Resident Evil 1.
Yes,
Yeah.
which had sort of photorealistic backgrounds.
Yeah.
And it was like profoundly terrifying to me.
Yeah,
at the time.
well, yeah. I remember playing at your house. I had the original PlayStation 1 game.
Yeah.
Long before I should have been playing games like that.
Yeah.
And it still like worries me.
Yeah,
Like,
well, I genuinely had nightmares about Resident Evil,
Yeah.
and it's it's certainly the only game, probably the only like film or thing of media that has ever affected me like that. But there's a scene.
E.T. used to give me nightmares.
Really?
Yeah, as a child. Yeah.
Right. Because the thing that used to freak me out was there's a like, you know, when you turn the game on and they have like the logos of all the companies or whatever. In amongst them, there was a scene which was like a morgue, and it was just a body bag on a table, and it slowly sits up, really slowly, and it's like it's got that aesthetic of it being like horrible and grimy and like covered in blood and everything. And like when I was 10, that was like profoundly terrifying.
Yes.
And I shouldn't have been playing it because I didn't sleep properly for like 6 months.
Yeah. I quite like the voice. Resident Evil. That's
Yeah.
The dialogue is hammy though, man. That's fun. Fun stuff. Yeah.
It is, but it is fun. Yeah. It's a laugh.
That scene in the first time you come across a zombie, you're like exploring, and it's laying on the floor, and you can't see it because the game is built on oblique angles, like a movie. It's meant to be done either
like
as like cinematic, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can't see it, and it suddenly sits up and grabs you, and you're like, "Oh god, this is so horrible!" And you can't aim the gun properly because it's at a weird angle.
Well,
so it stresses you out even more.
The first time, I know, the first time you see a zombie, you get a cutscene which is like the back of its head as it's eating someone, and it turns around.
Yes, that is terrifying.
It is
because it slow zooms in, and it just turns around like
it probably wigged me out when I was a little kid.
Understandably,
so, shouldn't have been playing it. Absent parents. That's what the real crime is.
Yeah, exactly. And you went on to love guns and violence. Yeah,
and the undead.
Is the Red Queen the worst thing in any movie ever?
It's unfortunate. It hasn't aged well.
So just in case anyone hasn't seen it or hasn't seen it for a while, Red Queen is like the operating system of the defense system of the hive,
right?
And it's artificial intelligence, and it's voiced by a child, a girl, who's meant to be the designer's daughter or something, right?
Right.
But it's reading lines like, "You're going to die."
Yeah,
and like,
you're all going to die down here.
But
the
voice you did is more robotic than hers, which is just a child badly reading a script.
It doesn't sound artificial enough.
No, it doesn't.
They would have been better off with just like a Siri type voice.
Or a robot like, "You are going to die."
Yeah.
But that would be scarier than "You're going to die."
Yeah.
Right? It's stressed in the wrong places. It just doesn't work.
It's strange.
It's embarrassing, is what it is.
Right.
It's embarrassing to listen to.
You're angry about
I
this.
am, yeah. It just, man, it's shit. It's bizarre stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And like, it's meant to be that it double crosses them.
Well, yeah, sort of.
I've been a bad girl.
But we'll get onto that, I think.
Like, think of 2001: Space Odyssey.
Yeah.
In that, the machine doesn't.
That is what it's aping.
It manipulates them, and it's like, no, it hurts. It hurts. And that's like a horrible thought that they're actually killing something and it's in pain.
There's a TV show called The Good Place, which has a similar sort of holographic avatar basically of a woman, and she's like incredibly jolly and nice and everything. But there's a button to reset her, like on a beach. There's just like on a stand, and she won't do anything to physically stop you, but the closer you get to it, the more she'll like try and manipulate your emotions into not doing it. And so like she'll do it like going like, oh no, it's fine. I actually don't care if you reset me because I'm an artificial program. And they take another step and they're like, please don't do it. Please. No, please. And then like later on, it's like she's got kids with her, like all sorts of things.
That's brilliant.
Really funny. But yeah, that is better than the Red Queen.
Great. I didn't really get what the zombies are supposed to be.
Zombies, mate.
Very inconsistent. And it's the sort of stuff where it's like you go, wait a minute. I thought they didn't have that trait, and then they do. And it's like
Right.
do you remember? I can't remember what the movie was where we just said they throw shit at a wall and hope some sticks.
Yeah.
What was it?
Insidious.
Right, Insidious. It's just got loads of weird shit like a creepy child, a gas mask. This has all those things as well.
Yeah.
And does it less effectively than Insidious, which did it badly in the first place.
Sure.
But you've got, like, the disease makes you die and you come back as a zombie.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes your body's rotting, sometimes it's not. Sometimes you're pale, sometimes you look completely normal. Sometimes it makes you sleep for ages and you only wake up when someone, like, knocks into you. Sometimes you're just wandering around. Sometimes it changes the colour of your eyes. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it makes you super strong. Sometimes it makes you super weak.
Yeah.
Sometimes you groan and hiss and go, "Rah!" And sometimes you don't make any noise at all.
Yeah.
Sometimes you stand up and stretch and crack your neck and prepare for a fight.
Yeah, and then you're a zombie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's just like make it up as you go along, isn't it?
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Irritating. So, we mentioned earlier that the Resident Evil games are known for their shoddy dialogue.
Sure.
Who else in the world is known for their shoddy dialogue?
I can't think, Joe.
Let's say I'd pick a name. How about Donald Trump? Donald Trump, right?
Yeah.
He's president of the United States, isn't he?
He is, yeah.
Then maybe you'll be able to separate. You think you're familiar with speeches?
Yeah. Intimately.
Yeah, and you're familiar with Resident Evil?
Yeah.
Then you should be able to play my quiz. President or resident?
Interesting that you didn't go for the more politically inflammatory Resident Evil or President Evil.
Oh, I know you're a big Trump supporter. I didn't want to upset you.
Absolutely. Let me just adjust my MAGA hat.
Yeah. So, very simple. I read a quote. You say whether it's resident or president.
Absolutely, yeah. I get the format.
Question 1.
Yeah.
We're rounding him up in a very humane way. And they're going to be happy because they want it to
That's
be
obviously
legalist.
President Trump.
And by the way, I know it doesn't sound nice, but not everything is nice.
President Trump.
Okay. Question 2.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Thank you.
Question 2. It's a weapon. It's really powerful, especially against living things.
I'm going to go with President Trump again.
No, that was resident.
Oh, no. This is
Resident.
harder than you think.
Yeah. Question 3.
It's not good that it could be a, like, evil, a like, stereotypical...
Yeah. Supervillain.
Yeah. Or
The
the
president.
President of the United States.
Question 3.
Yeah.
It's really cold outside. They're calling it a major freeze. Weeks ahead of normal.
Well, any quote that has they is obviously Donald Trump.
Man, we could use a big fat dose of global warming.
Great. Is that Donald Trump?
It's Donald Trump.
Thank you.
Yes. Question 4. Don't be a hard dog to keep under the porch.
That's got to be Resident Evil.
Correct.
Yeah. It's too eloquent for Donald Trump.
Question 5.
If Donald Trump said it, it would be like, they say dogs, some dogs, dogs, I love dogs. People out there, they love dogs. But sometimes they're hard, they're hard to keep. They've got to be under the porch. It's difficult, I understand that.
Yeah. I'm a very smart man.
Yeah.
I'm a very smart keeper of dogs.
Yeah. A lot of people are saying, if I had a dog, it'd be the best dog.
I'm sure you boys... Question 5.
Yeah.
I'm sure you boys didn't tag along so we could sing Kumbaya together at some Boy Scout bonfire.
That's Resident Evil.
Then again, maybe you did.
Resident Evil?
Yes.
Yeah. I think I recognise that.
All right, question 6.
Yeah.
No matter what you do, guns, it doesn't matter. They're going to come through the cracks, and they're going to do things to people we will not believe are possible.
President Trump.
Yes.
Yeah. It's the sentence structure that it's like it's obviously not written. Like, do you know what I mean? Like they're like, no matter what you do, guns. Like, it's just the non sequitur.
No matter what you do, guns, no guns, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. They're gonna come here through the cracks, and they're gonna come through the cracks, and they're gonna do things.
Yeah.
They're gonna do things that are bad.
Yeah. Great.
Great. So
Good quiz.
You know the difference between resident and president.
Yeah. President Evil.
What is this? Stop it! Don't open that door! What is it? What is this?
What is it?
Blood. Hope this is not Chris's blood.
Well, with all that said, Joe, it's time for the flagship part of our show. How would you survive in the hive?
Well, my first tip is more for like the world at large and Umbrella Corporation, especially because they have, this, despite being cunts, there is some level of corporate responsibility. They know it's gone wrong, so they send a team in there to fix it.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, why are they sending that team in? Why? Because they're like, we're going to seal it off forever, so no one can ever get in.
Yeah.
Do that immediately.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah.
And then brick it up.
Yeah.
Fill it with concrete.
Yeah. I basically have the same thing written down,
Yeah.
which is that you have this sort of like failsafe system in place, but you also don't tell the sanitation team that you're sending in about it.
Yeah.
So
you say sanitation team. That's a political euphemism for
it's a
murder squad.
wet work team. Yeah. Like
that's also a euphemism.
if you're going to have a fail-safe option that has such drastic consequences, like why would you not just have like some complete self-destruction system built in as well?
Yeah.
Something to just completely destroy everything that's in the lab.
Yeah. They kill everyone in there for basically no reason at all. No need for it.
Well, I would argue that she's actually the Red Queen, that is actually pretty justified in what she does.
Yeah.
Because it's a communicable virus
Yeah.
that could destroy humanity. So she's killing all of the hosts.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. You're right.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, don't expose the situation to more risk by putting people who are heavily armed and want to escape.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And like basically you're introducing a wild card element that will only serve to undermine the steps you've already taken.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think we've basically got the same point.
Yeah. Just something just occurred to me, right?
Yeah.
How do they kill everyone in the hive?
Halon gas.
Right. And what do they? I know they do wear gas masks on the way in, don't they?
Yeah.
Forget them. It's good with an agreement. We often are. But it's a satisfying thing.
Have you got any other ideas?
Yeah, this is for Red Queen. Again, we've been discussing her a lot and her failure as a character.
Okay.
I want to talk about her failure as a safeguarding device.
Right.
Because what you said is she's right in trying to safeguard and trying to prevent the people escaping when they're infected. Correct. Yeah. So when they're saying like, "Oh, we'll shut you down forever if you don't tell us where to go," and she's like, "Oh, definitely, I'll tell you where to go immediately," because just say no. Yeah, I'm a machine, and
she's obviously got some sort of like artificial intelligence going on, hasn't she?
Obviously, yeah.
And so she has some sort of odd self-preservation thing,
but also self-sacrifice in a strange way.
Yes.
It's like
now,
she wants to.
I have a feeling that I can answer this question for you.
Go on.
Because once again, this links into my point.
Okay.
And that is that the sequels to these films reveal
a bit of wider reading.
Yeah. They reveal that this was actually Umbrella intended to release the virus. Okay. Yes. That was their plan all along. And the reason was that it was a solution for things like climate change and overpopulation. And they basically killed all... Their idea was basically to kill all poor and unprivileged people. Meanwhile, preserving the rich and the wealthy in cryogenical... Is that a word? No. In cryogenic freezing pods underneath the hive.
Are they in there?
Yes. Now, this is called retconning.
Right, yes.
And so that might explain the Red Queen's behaviour, because secretly... She knows that if her power goes off, shit, like all the secret people who are frozen underneath the hive...
will die.
They'll die.
Yeah.
And you might ask, what about that nuclear bomb that gets dropped directly on the hive at the end of the second film? And I say to you...
Don't worry about
Not
it.
my area.
Don't worry about it.
I'll have to transfer you to another department.
Please hold the line.
But is that actually a good... Do you think Umbrella are onto something? Do you think that's a good idea to preserve the human race? I'm starting to think these guys have some good ideas.
Yeah.
It's good. Yeah.
President Trump or Resident Evil?
Any final thoughts from you?
Blending the lines. Blending the lines?
Blurring the line. Blurring.
Yeah. My final thought is for Mila Jovovich.
Yeah.
Wife of director Paul W.S. Anderson, who went on to direct her in like 18 more films in the franchise, presumably on a pay of about 50 million each time.
Probably, yeah.
Great selection.
What's your survival idea?
Cast me in the next one. Well, obviously Mila, Alice.
Yeah.
Use your 16-foot vertical jump kicking mechanism.
Well, she jumps off the walls, doesn't she? She runs up the wall.
Well, there's one where she does like a Charlie's Angels Full Throttle sort of like a jump, like a Karate Kid sort of thing. Jump in the air, kick him under the shin, right? She kills a zombie doing that. She then kicks a dog in the head doing something similar. She then kicks the liquor, I think. It doesn't work. Whatever it is, right? Every time you're in a confrontation, which is all through the film, just do that. Just do that all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
She doesn't know she has the powers, does she?
As soon as she does it once.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but that's
every
because
it's
like latent things that are being activated in her by adrenaline, I guess.
If she can jump 4 foot vertical, I'm not exaggerating. That she see it there.
Yeah.
She could jump across, save the matey who's like trapped by the zombies.
Yeah.
Jump back with him.
Yeah.
Over her head.
Yeah. I wonder if it's like a belief thing, because the Alice of the later films, definitely, I'd agree with you that she's capable of these things, but in fact, this might even be pre-experimentation. The bit where she's locked up at the end, that might be the first time we see her after she's been experimented on. So maybe it isn't that she has latent powers. Anyway, I sort of agree with you. She should fly and kick all the dogs, and that would be a good way of escaping.
It's bad films.
Yes. Speaking of which, next week,
God,
you know what's happening? Paranormal Activity, the marked ones.
Great.
Will it show a marked improvement over Paranormal Activity 4?
Well,
there's only one way to find out, and that's by tuning in to How to Survive episode 140 next week.
Yeah, this one's on Netflix.
Yeah.
Unlike
Paranormal Activity 4,
the only one that isn't.
So bad that it's not even on Netflix.
Yeah. Netflix wouldn't buy the rights.
Yes.
Even for like completionist purposes.
Yeah. Thank you very much for listening. If you'd like to get in touch with any thoughts on Resident Evil, any of the films that we've covered, or for a suggestion of any films that you'd like us to cover.
Yeah. We've had an email in here from a Mr. J. Sherville who says, do you guys have to do Paranormal Activity next week? Can't you do a good movie?
I thought I blocked this guy's email address.
He
keeps emailing me every day.
He says, why don't you do You Were Never Really There instead? That's a good film.
It is a good film, but it's not really our remit here on the How to Survive podcast.
Thanks for email, Jay Sherville.
Yeah. Thanks very much. HowToSurviveShow@gmail.com is the email address. If like Jay, you'd like to get in touch. @HowToSurvivePod is the Twitter account.
Oh, someone's been in touch on Twitter. It's @Jay Sherville who says, guys, don't do Paranormal Activity marked ones. It's shit.
I'm looking forward to it.
Are you?
Good.
Yeah.
YouTube.com/HowToSurvivePod is our YouTube account.
Yeah.
If you'd like to follow us on there.
We had quite an interesting comment on one of our videos recently.
Yeah, I wonder what it said.
It was from a Jay Sherville who said, do not do the next Paranormal Activity movie.
You're gonna love it, mate. You're gonna love it. I have a feeling this is gonna be the best one yet.
Yeah. And if you've enjoyed what you've heard more than I'm going to enjoy watching Paranormal Activity, the marked ones, do leave us a 5-star review on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts.
Yeah.
We have had one review in which quite amused me this week. It's 5 stars. It's from Jay Sherville who says, please do not do Paranormal Activity, the marked ones next week.
I'm afraid I'm going to have to disappoint him. Thank you very much for listening. Joe, you've been wonderful. And it makes sense that you are my co-host because you are the master of podcasting.
Yeah.
is this all about? I can't figure it out at all.
Here's a lockpick. It might be handy if you, the master of unlocking, take it with you. That was too close. You were almost a Jill sandwich.